Thank you for joining me today for another episode of the Healthy AF podcast. With me today is Dylan Gemelli. Dylan and I have had some back and forth conversations from Instagram to off camera to actually on your podcast, which we're all warmed up and ready to go. But Dylan has hit the space. Well, he's been in the space for a number of years in different aspects of it. But I've really seen you. You're killing it. You're the host of the Dylan Gemelli podcast, which is ranked in the top 5 that I've seen at least, sometimes at the one spot in health and fitness and alternative health. Mm-hmm. You've had some great guests like Ben Greenfield, Dave Asprey, Dr. Berg, and our buddy Benazati.
Yeah.
And you're getting into the weeds with a lot of people in a variety of aspects of alternative health. And it doesn't seem in a particular dogma or genre at all, mm-hmm. but it's pretty broad. Mm-hmm. And so I love that you're just turning over all the rocks.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you for being on my podcast, because I wanted to kind of unpack your history before biohacking, before getting into the biohacking space.
Yeah.
You've been in the health space for a long time, mm-hmm. and in a arena that most of the people you're speaking to now have never even ventured into. Mm-hmm. So again, thank you. I hope you get to unpack some of that, because your own history with health, whereas a lot of people come in, they were sick, metabolically unhealthy, maybe they were overweight or diabetic, and they found a way to lose their weight and correct those things. You've been pursuing a level of health in the extremes.
Yeah.
And that's a very different perspective than someone who's come from sick to healthy. You were at an unhealthy level within the health sphere, which I can completely relate to. So again, thank you. I'm doing a lot of the talking, but I thank you for coming on, because I think we're going to have some fun and be a very interesting conversation.
Oh yeah, I got a lot for you.
But if you don't mind, before we get into the science, you've been pretty open about your history, how you got here, your past, mm-hmm. And which a lot of adversity. Do you mind sharing a little bit about what that was like and kind of what took you from there to where you are now, really pursuing health, but pursuing a message of health?
Yeah. Self-inflicted adversity. I want to make that clear. I believe in accountability, like I was telling you. And when you can do that, that's how you can become better. So a lot of the stuff that's happened to me is by my own doing. So let's start way back. I was, first of all, my family raised only child, like given everything, even though my parents had nothing. You realize it when you got older, what I put them through and what they did for me with what they didn't have and what they sacrificed, not taking vacations, not going out at night or doing anything that a couple would want to do, because my dad coached me at everything. My mom worked less so she could be at everything with me. So it's not like that I came from this troubled childhood and then I did all of these mistakes that I'm about to get into. So I want to make that very clear. My dad coached me through everything. I was a 4-sport athlete in high school. I started off at 3 years old with, I can go back and show you a Hulk Hogan weight set that I had. I still have it. I have the pictures of it. My dad was a college basketball player. So he started me young with baseball, basketball, football, tennis. Those were my things. And I loved them all, which was problematic as you get older because of the wear and tear. But I was overweight as a kid. My mom would feed me anything and everything. She was an Italian mom, and literally, even with all the athletics, overweight. When I was going into 8th grade, I played tackle football, and I grew like 5 inches. So I went from like 5'8" to 6'1" over, I don't know, like less than a year. So I lost all this weight, and I, I changed some eating habits. We stopped getting the McDonald's every day I was getting after school and all of that crap. And what happened is that a lot of kids would start making these accusations. Oh, he's doing drugs. He's got an eating disorder. And then the parents were saying it. So then my mom and dad came to me and started asking me, I don't even know what half of this stuff is. I don't know what anorexia is. I don't know what, it was called crank then for something that they were talking about to take drugs. I don't know what any of this shit is. Mm-hmm. I was lost. But then it got into my head and started giving me ideas. So then I started to get this fear after a while of, oh man, if I gain that weight back. It wasn't in my head at first. Shit, I was enjoying it. I was loving life, right? It was totally different. So that's when the eating disorder and the like bulimia kicked in. That became an issue to where my dad started to tell me, hey, you don't get this under control, I'm not going to let you play sports. You get your weight back up and you start eating right, or you're not going to play. So I had to make a decision. So I started to get things under control. Then I started to study nutrition, even at that age. But that's when the low-fat diet craze was going on. And so what I thought was right about diet, that I was studying and learning and reading these labels and looking for everything with the lowest fat amount of possible and looking at these things completely wrong, as we know now. And we had a laugh that was called Snackwells, was one of those things.
That's what it was.
Snackwells, those devil's food things, man, and they really didn't taste that good. You thought they did. I played college basketball. I got hurt multiple times. And so I became a fashion model against my will. My mom wanted me to do it forever. And for me, it was way too feminine. Like, I didn't want to do it. You know, I loved clothes and fashion, don't get me wrong, but it was like not my, I felt like it was not my thing.
Right.
Then I started to look at it, and I'm like, oh, there's possible fame, there's women everywhere, there's money, all of this. And I said, all right, screw it, let's do it. You know, let's do it. And I'm in this partying stage because I got hurt playing basketball, and all I cared about was like partying and everything and being the man. I cared about nothing else but Dylan, right? And they took me to this competition. And there was like 30, 40,000 people here, 10,000 people in my division of men. And I'm like, man, this is one of those things where they took your money and trained you all this time. Now, mind you, I was in a drug phase then, so I was missing all of the training. And then when I did show up, it was a night after a full-blown night of cocaine and alcohol. So I was walking in 5 hours late. So the expectations were low. I walked home 5th place of everybody. Immediately got a contract, went to Milan. Well, doing that's like going from high school to the NBA. Like, you go from minor league straight up to the pros right at the very top. I'm not ready for that in multiple ways. All right. Too immature, too selfish. So I get over there. This is no way to live. It's just no way to live.
Oh, I know.
So here's the routine. Wake up, get ready, get on the subway, because I'm in Italy. Take it to the agency, get your call sheet. Walk around all day, get to a few auditions because it takes all day. Go to the gym. Go party. The weekends, the only thing's different is you don't got to go to the agency and you can sleep longer.
And you're out till 4 a.m. there.
Every day.
And there's free drinks for the models, right?
Yes. I didn't pay for anything.
Right.
When you showed them one time your comp card or whatever, they knew who you were and who you rolled with, and you were exactly right. I didn't pay for anything.
I was there in 92 and 93.
So you know.
I do know. It's dangerous.
Yes, it's bad.
Yeah.
So what happens? Well, I can't keep up, man. I'm spending 4 or 5 times what I'm making. So I'm telling you, I'm partying, doing drugs. I started to sell drugs. Well, very lucrative, but not very long-term. Right? Every situation I've ever been in, no matter how bad, I try to take good out of it. So I developed a strong sense of business savvy, and it got me ready for what I have to deal with now. So I will take those key components that I did take from it.
That's hysterical. Dealing drugs got you ready for the health industry.
Well, it got me ready for the business side of the health industry.
Absolutely.
And it also taught me about all these things that I was doing, and I ended up studying how they were really affecting my body. And some of the hard things I'll get into later that I know that the cocaine caused me later. Right?
Yeah.
And so what happened? Eventually you get caught. I got a 15-year prison sentence when I was 28.
Ooh.
I'm 43 right now, so that's 15 years ago.
Right.
Laws in Iowa far different where I'm at, so time gets cut, turned down. I was perfect behavior, so I was out in 2. My parents had moved to Maui, so guess where I got sent when I got released? So I went from the hellhole of the world, to Maui upon release.
Wow.
I had 5 years parole, did 1, they let me go. Perfect behavior. That's when I met my wife there. She's polar opposite of me. She met me when I had absolutely nothing, right? And she had never really drank, smoked, never gotten into any kind of trouble. No, nothing. So at night, I would start to study these bodybuilding forums. Because when I was in college, I was studying exercise science, and that's when I started to study supplements, and then I started to study steroids, and then I discovered peptides, SARMs, which were deemed research chemicals at the time. Mm-hmm. And what happened was one of the companies found me. They said, "Hey, we see what you're doing. We see how quickly you're doing this and taking over and helping people and teaching people and how much you know. Do you have any kind of personality, whatever?" And I was like, yeah, I got just a little bit, just a little. And they were like, "Oh, okay. Well, here's what we think we can do for you, what we want to do. We'll build you up. We're going to make you a face of our company for the supplement side, but this is how we're going to make you big to get us business. You're going to get on YouTube and start talking about everything in the bodybuilding world, which is a lot of steroids and a lot of discussion, because it's going to draw people in to buy these supplements that are for steroid users." So they had like post-cycle therapy products, liver products, everything a steroid user needs, testosterone boosters.
Sure.
And so the goal was bring those people over here because there's so many of them. And then, then also bring in everyday people to the weight loss products. You can put them on these testosterone boosters, et cetera. And they're trying to substitute them for HCG and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I said, okay, I need to make sure this is legal. I just got out of trouble. Did some research. You can talk about whatever you want. I'm not selling steroids. I can talk about whatever the hell I want.
Right.
Within a year and a half, I had almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And I was one of the only people discussing a lot of this stuff or willing to push the envelope and talk about it. And I had a different perspective. I wasn't 300 pounds jacked and functioning on one brain cell.
Right.
And then it became this thing where I was sought out to coach and teach. And then I started getting mass amounts of clients. But they weren't just steroid users. They were people that use steroids that wish they hadn't, that were screwed up later. And so I started to take that I was convincing myself, oh, you're doing such good because you're helping people to use these right or stay off of them. But in reality, I wasn't, because I was still contributing to a problem, because they're still bad either way you look at it. Right. Several of those channels got shut down. I had to keep restarting till finally around COVID time, I got shut down again. And I wasn't talking about COVID, but anybody pushing the envelope on anything at that time was getting screwed with.
Right.
What happened was I got invited to speak at Mr. Olympia. And I got to speak with doctors, practitioners, and you got me, Mr. I don't got 800 letters after my name, but they saw enough in me to give me that opportunity. And I got up there and I tore it up, man, because I knew a lot of the things that were being talked about, and I had a different perspective. And they actually respected what I was saying. It was kind of like the conversations you and I have. When I was there, I was only planning on going and speaking. Well, the guy that was there, he's like, "Man, you're incredible. I want you to meet this lady." And she was a former Miss Olympia, Monica Brandt. She's very, very well known. So she said, "Would you like to be at a booth with me and co-host my podcast with me?" So I went from like not having any plans to my full days being booked. Well, sitting there, she was sponsored by a company called Stem Regen, who is a key player in the biohacking industry. Yeah. They came and watched me speak. I made connection with them. And when I got home, I got COVID. And I was so bummed because I was like, man, I got all these connections. I got all this stuff going. I was ready to capitalize. Boom, boom, ready to go. And now I'm sick and I can't move. And that's when I started to make the change, because I'm very spiritual. I make no mistake about that in everything I talk about. And that's fine if it's not for everybody. It's cool. But I'm going to talk about it, and I don't give a shit, because it's who I am. And it's where I wouldn't be here without that. So I said to myself, am I going to trust in whatever God's got planned here? Or am I going to sit here and pout like I always do when I get sick and feel sorry for myself? So I said, just tell me what it is. Why did this happen? And I was laying there and I said, you know what? I'm going to start digging into Stem Regen a little bit and just see what the hell's going on here. That's when I discovered biohacking. And I told my wife, I said, you're going to have to trust me. We're going to make a transition here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is everything I want to do that I believe in. I said, it might not be easy because this is not what I'm known for, but this is what I care about. And this is what I'm going to make my life and learn.
And you have basically kind of taken off like a rocket, really, over the last year and a half or so, year, really.
Yeah.
And so, again, like I said, great guests. You're obviously well-versed. You've been through several of your own trials with health and in a way that most haven't. And so I think that, that makes you pretty uniquely positioned to speak on something who's used to, you're trying to manipulate certain systems in your body. And before it was probably not in the best possible way. And now the intention is in the best possible way. Like how do we leverage the best part of our healing, right?
Yep.
Leverage for healing, not just for a immediate or short-term performance or a short-term aesthetic goal. And that's a very different perspective. Longevity versus aesthetic. They can overlap, but they can also separate.
I'm still struggling in terms of I don't want to eat this, I don't want to eat that. I'm still in that low fat thing in my head. So when I got out of prison, I was struggling because like I hadn't eaten much of anything. I dropped a ton of weight when I was in there because I was only eating very particular things. So I was eating oatmeal, tuna. This is all stuff I was ordering of my own, but I was living off of basically nothing because I wouldn't touch the food in there. And when I got out, I went through this like 2-week thing of I ate everything in sight. Because I even when I went in the grocery store, I remember when I got out, I had a whole thing of blueberries. And I threw up like immediately. I ate the whole freaking like 2-pound carton. My mom was like, slow down, slow down, slow down. I was like, I don't care. I'm just eating it. So I went through this shift then, and then I got into the bodybuilding thing, started to mess around with steroid use and started to really, I wanted to defy the odds and I wanted to be shredded year round and I wanted to go against the grain of everything I knew was wrong and bad, even training people and knowing. So I was eating very, very little fat, very little. Now, for a while, I was still eating chicken and like heavier proteins, fish, things like that. But then once I decided, why am I using steroids? Like, this isn't me. I'm not a meathead. This is not who I am. Then I started to develop this fear. Like, oh my gosh, like if I don't take these, then I'm not going to be able to keep the fat off and I'm going to have to super restrictive. So I was eating, like I said, about 15 servings of vegetables a day. I was like 10 egg whites, tons of oatmeal, tons of protein powder. And if I had fat, it was either from a Quest bar or peanut butter. That was it. I literally ate no other fats ever. I wouldn't even, my wife would attest to this. I wouldn't even take a bite of something. Like if she was like, here, take a bite of this, I would be like, no, I'm not touching it. No. So I started to watch some things closer, some people that I respected that were eating. And I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I was not being productive with work because of the way that I was so hungry all the time. Every event me and my wife went to, it would be like, she's got to make all these vegetables for me to bring and snack on. And I never enjoyed myself. All I was thinking about was how hungry I was. I went in one day to the kitchen. I said, I've had it today. And she's like, okay, what happened? And I said, no, listen. I know how to lose weight. So if this doesn't work, I know how to knock it right off. So we're just going to try something. I said, because I'm so miserable, I can't do this anymore. I said, I want you to get me avocados. I'm going to start eating whole eggs instead of egg whites. We're going to start eating ground beef. I said, butter, all this shit. I said, everything I keep listening to and learning that I know, I'm just going to try it. Let's just try it. And then I'm like, oh shit, man, I feel really good. Like I feel really good. This shit tastes good too. So then I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this freaking oatmeal. Like I'm sick of it. I'm sick of eating all this peanut butter. It's tearing my stomach apart. So let's try a little bit more. Then I started to put in salmon in there because I told her I wouldn't touch salmon. I just thought I didn't like it. Turns out I love it. Right? Turns out avocado is my favorite thing in the world. I can't live without now. So I went from this like 1,500 calorie a day diet, and if you knew the amount of cardio I do in a day,
1,500 calories,
15 to 17 max. And I'm doing 10, 15 miles a day just in cardio. That's not counting the lifting. 3 hours a day of working out. Yeah.
How?
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
And you weren't injured. You weren't like you were
mentally
injured. You were
overtrained,
obviously.
Yeah, mentally injured for sure. But and physically, I would have a lot of aches and more so than I ever should at those age. So I went to about almost 3,000 calories a day, not quite, which for me without marijuana is very difficult. Well, I went to a biohacking convention, first one I went to, and I met a guy there and he hooked me up to that Panoe machine, which measured your breath and told you how much fat to carbs you were burning. He's like, man, you are like a fat burning machine and da-da-da-da-da. And that was another thing that triggered me where I was like, man, I bet I could eat a lot more. And he gave me this thing, and it said that I should be, literally, this is what it said, that I should be eating almost 400 carbs a day, grams, 180 grams of fat, and like 200 some protein. It was like 3,800 calories a day just to maintain. And I said, man, I am so sick of this and sick of saying that, oh, Dylan, you're different. You're different than every human that ever lived, so you can't eat like this. But the whole world changed for me doing that. And I'm still tinkering with stuff and testing. Can I do more carbs here? Should I do on some days?
You feel better.
Oh, shit.
You get nutrients.
Yeah. And I'm pissed that I wasn't cooking in butter all this time. And I'm not Mr. like eat a pound of butter every day by any stretch, but I feel like you get the good grass fed, you get the CLA, the other nutrients, the good omegas. You do it right. And I don't go crazy on these diets like we talked about. I'm not Mr. Carnivore, Mr. Keto, Mr. High Carb. I'm none of that. It's just like everything in life. I'm just down the middle what works for Dylan. You know what I mean? And we'll tinker and we'll play. That's why I want to ask you questions. And do you think I could add this in a little bit? Maybe take away from this. Let's try it. See if it's even better. I'm that guy.
Sure.
I'm Mr. Accommodate each individual and see how their body reacts guy. Because I think that's the best thing to do.
You turn the tables on what you've been doing since you were a teenager. Mm-hmm. Those are old habits. Those are old mindsets that you basically flipped over completely and said, I'm diving into healthy fat. You did it in a healthy way, but that is a biohacker. I mean, that is, and while we're talking about nutrition, that's the mindset. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm going to experiment. I can improve. And so that's what you're doing. That's amazing. And I'm curious. I mean, I would want to talk to you 2 or 3 years down the road from now and see where you are and what you've learned over this last, 2 or 3 years and what you've found, because I think because you're in that point where you're experimenting and trying new things, that's going to continue.
Yeah. It's funny. I'd say 90% of the foods I eat now, I thought I either didn't like or couldn't eat. And a lot of the ones that I was forcing myself to eat, I can't stand. I'm not a big chicken fan. Like, I made myself eat chicken for so long. I'll eat chicken thighs, I like. But
Right. Breasts and
choking down all of that and and trying to act like it was good or make it good.
Canned tuna.
Oh, shit. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think that I abused myself mentally more with some of the stuff I was eating than physically sometimes, But it's funny, like I said, so many of those things that I tell you now I could not live without, I wouldn't touch. I just wouldn't. I used to, with the avocado, for instance, I would just tell myself it wasn't good by the look of it or the feel of the texture or whatever, the way it felt. Same as the salmon. And she would just beg me, my wife, to eat this or try this. And I was just, nope, I'm not doing it. Don't ask me because you're pissing me off. That's what I would say. So then she just stopped. And I'm Italian. I was raised Italian, so we always ate pasta and everything and every week, and I don't even really crave it anymore. I don't crave carbs like some people do
because you're allowing yourself to have them.
Yeah, maybe that's why
you don't have a carb deficit, so you're not craving it.
Yeah.
And now you don't have a fat deficit, so you're not craving.
No,
fat.
I'm not. And I sit here now.
You enjoy them.
Yeah, but before I came, I'll tell you what I ate. I had 160 some grams of avocado, the toast, 4 whole eggs, 6 egg whites, and then veggies mixed in. And I mean, you're getting everything in the one setting. And man, I feel great, phenomenal. And I never feel like heavy full, but like really good full to where I'm good, man. And that kind of meal like that.
You're getting nutrients in there as well. They're real food. It's not the same as if you could come up with the same macronutrient ratio from processed junk at the grocery store, and you wouldn't feel as good because it doesn't have the nutrients in there. It doesn't. It's not real food. Your body wouldn't recognize it, and there's all the inflammation that comes from those foods.
Yeah,
it's not just macros. It's the food. The food matrix has nutrition in it that's far beyond the fat, protein, and carbohydrate mixture or ratio mixture. It's far beyond that, and the fact that we've minimized food to a macronutrient. I mean, yes, I play with macros to elicit a certain response intentionally, but to minimize food to merely their macronutrient value is undervaluing the food. And we're missing the whole nutrition part of the food matrix and how these foods interact with each other.
That's right.
Yeah.
Are you telling me all calories are not equal?
That all foods, the fact that we even use calories is ridiculous.
I know.
To give that a lot of weight, that's heat. Mm-hmm. That's the heat of the potential of the food that you eat. That has nothing to do with how much of it you actually turn into energy.
Right.
And because you're eating real food, you're turning more of that into actual energy. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's not sitting around your belly like fat. You're lean. You're a ton of energy, mental energy, physical energy. You're working out a lot. You're turning that food into real energy, into ATP. And it's fueling you, and you probably feel amazing.
Oh, and I cut down some of like super intense cardio, did more walking. This is just another one of those bro things. You look at walking, you're like, oh, that's so weak and whatever. In reality, it's literally the best form of cardiovascular exercise that you could do to implement daily. I still do like some high, I still overtrain, but walking is the best. It is.
You get a great base of cardio there.
Yes. Yeah. I probably walk faster than most, fine, because that's just the kind of guy I am. But
you got really long legs.
Yes, exactly. But damn it, man, 30 minutes in the morning when I get up to get out and get in the sunlight and walk and start my day off that way instead of this heavy, crazy training and overtraining and all this. I still probably overtrain, but I look better and feel better. And there's a lot less pain within me from all of that.
I'm with you. Yeah, I get it.
Train smarter, not harder when you get older.
Yeah, we do have to do that as we get older. I hate to tell you.
It's a fact.
A little bit ahead of you.
I hurt my shoulder every week, dude. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's just being smarter about it. I think where we train, if you look at the marathon, there's the top marathon runner, Chogi, I believe his name is. He spends 80% of his time in zone 1. Yeah. And maybe 9% in zone 2, and then zone 3 to 5, the higher intensities is still like a 5 or 6%. And he's the number one front runner for the marathon, and he's in zone now. His zone 1, because of how he trains, his zone 1, he's still running 6 miles an hour.
Exactly.
But the point is, where's his heart rate?
That's right.
And that's what we have to think about. Think about where's your heart rate when you're doing cardio, because it's very easy to spend too much time in that zone 3 and overtrain, create inflammation, the joint issues. It's hard on your heart.
That's it. And
you still lift weights, and you probably still do a little high intensity there. But I mean, dude, that's enough intensity.
Yeah. It's the leanest I've ever been and the best I've ever felt since I was like playing high school sports and college sports. Seriously.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's probably the best diet I've had ever.
It sounds like it for sure.
Yeah, because when you're in high school and stuff, you kind of get away with whatever you want. And
pizza and ice cream.
Yeah, pretty much. And, and I quit smoking pot, quit drinking, quit all of that. But at the time, I was, smoking pot a lot, and I was eating everything and getting away with it, right? And you have those late nights at that age where you're eating pizza at 2 or 3 in the morning or whatever is open, and you're partying in your 20s. I live a life now that is the polar opposite of who I was. When I travel, I won't travel without a kitchen and cooking my own food. I don't eat out. I do not eat out ever. I built us a new home and spent the majority of the base of it was in the kitchen, where I built the grandest kitchen with the best stuff, because that's how important it was to me that everything is done so intricately and precisely based on the foods that we're eating, what we're putting into our bodies. I always tell people when they say that the foods are too expensive or whatever, I don't disagree, because it's true. But however, you need to figure out then your priorities. What are you spending money on that you could alleviate to accommodate the foods that you should be buying to have to put into your bodies and your family's bodies?
Right.
Right? Because it's not just about you, it's about who you're living with and who you care about too. So sacrifice something else to make yourself live longer and healthier. Yeah. There's always something you can sacrifice or cut out to accommodate what you need. I'm not telling everybody you got to blow your whole paycheck at Whole Foods, but there's still ways that you can shop cheaper and still get the right foods.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's how we were growing up, raising kids. We had 4 kids, and we had to feed them all. And we cooked a lot at home, and I made a lot of breakfast at home. And I didn't want to send them to school eating school food. No, but it was preparing a lot of food for them, and that was a big major expense. And part of our motivation to continue to succeed and do better in business was so we could eat better food. That was always a priority. Mm-hmm. Which takes me to a question for you now that you're in the biohacking space. More so, do you see a lot of people in that space who are maybe trying to shortcut their nutrition with things like technology and supplements and even peptides and hormone replacement, which are all good things. It's not to say that those things shouldn't be part of your, I'm all about them. But do you find that maybe you're coming from fitness, nutrition, college sports, where it was about food, you used food, even though it was maybe not in the most healthy way, but you used food to elicit a particular response, right? Now, are you seeing a lot of people who maybe they try to use the technology or the peptides to maybe not have to, so they don't have to be so tight with their diet? Maybe the priority's a little off.
I've had the blessing of working with some like top level professional athletes and then doctors and nutritionists and the most well respected in the world. And I have taken bits and pieces from them all. And that's why I try to be so versatile in what I do and learn. So I get to encounter a lot and I see a lot. I don't necessarily say a lot, but I see everything. Sure. I think you'll attest to this in you and I, even at points in our life, everybody's looking for a shortcut somehow. I try to take the more methodical, long game approach now, and I believe that it's a marathon, not a sprint in a lot of instances. There are certain cases where it's like time sensitive, but most things require time to work. And we all are programmed to want everything right now. How can we get this right now without having to do any sort of effort or minimal effort? So yes, I work with timeline, and it's all focused on mitochondria, right? So I've been studying cellular health and mitochondria. Shit, I went to Harvard to study it. And I say that because then I started to do some work with this me screen that does the mitochondria testing. And he gave me some data when I was talking to him. And he said the biohackers have the worst me screens results that he had ever seen. And he said because they all try to do 75,000 different things that they think is going to work without focusing on one thing. Right? So the people that have to do every single therapy out there, take every supplement ever created and do thousands of these different things and do them all. It's the same thing I used to run into with the guys running steroids. They wanted to take 10 different things on a cycle because, well, this one does this and this one does this. They don't even think about the synergy and the bad synergy and how one might have a great effect, but it certainly doesn't agree with the other. You start doing all these different therapies and all of these different tests and put all of this stuff into your body. What do you think is going to happen? It's going to be chaos. You're going to throw your body into this just total misalignment and disarray that it's not meant to do. So I see everything, obviously in just all aspects of people, the GLP-1s, they're completely misused, misunderstood, and they're abused, and nobody understands how to properly eat with them, for one, because look, weight loss is fine, but how are we getting this weight loss from it? How sustainable is it? And then are we sacrificing muscle? Because if we are, what's the point and purpose here? Because you are going to be left in such a horrific state when you're done. Not only are you going to gain the weight back, but you've sacrificed all of this muscle.
Well, they're telling a lot of them they may not ever be done.
Yeah.
You may be on this your whole life.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where that goes for you.
Yeah.
So that's just one aspect of it. Now, everybody thinks that BPC 157 is going to heal every single thing you got, and it's going to be like that overnight. Tear an ACL. Well, I'm going to be better like in 2 weeks, like Terminator, right? Or Wolverine. That is not how these things work. They help. It's like taking a supplement. It's a supplement. It's not a full-blown replacement. Right? That's why it's called a supplement. Well, a lot of these things that we have at our disposal, if we would only use them properly, we don't get the right kind of benefit from them. And then what happens? Well, then it's, these are terrible, and they cause all these problems without looking at the fact of why. It's because of misuse and because of abuse and non-understanding of how to use it. And then you get these bad actors out there that come out and they put out bad products, and everybody wants to sell everything, open an anti-aging clinic and put everybody on everything under the sun,
right.
Put people on TRT when their levels are in the 500s and 600s, right. And then wreck their life, put them on something forever, crush their testosterone they'll never fix when they don't even need it. It's frustrating, but I feel like I was given a platform and a voice and to be able to talk to. I think that one of the reasons that I am a seeker of well-rounded knowledge and why I grasp it is because that was what I was meant to do. It's not that Dylan is the greatest teacher in the world. It's that Dylan knows a little bit about a lot, and then he can go back and forth with the people that are experts. And that's what I do. I don't give a shit if you tell me oh, you're so great, or you know this or that. I don't care. That doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about any sort of accolade or anything. I care about what I'm remembered for and what I'm doing and the impact I'm making. That's what I care about.
That's great. That's great. I mean, impact really is.
That's it.
I think the older we get, we think about how do we want to be remembered.
Yeah.
And it's impact. And I think that's where a lot of, once you get your priorities straight, the things that will fall away when you die, well, I mean, you can start counting them. You can just look around your home.
Yeah.
But the thing that gets left behind is impact, your reputation, or your, if you want to call it that. How many people did you impact? How many people did you help?
Well, that's what I like about you, is the willingness to go against what others may say for what you know is right, or what you see as that is the truth, and you have to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's not fun all the time, no. But it's. I mean, I've been doing. We've both been in this, looking for this, like seeking health in some form, and many times misdirected. Mm-hmm. But that's part of the learning journey, right? Mm-hmm. And then it gets us to a point of maturity where we can really say, learn from my mistakes. Don't do what I did. And when you can help other people avoid the mistakes you did, that's rewarding.
Yeah. One of the things that I find too, there's people with good intentions that give a bad message. So, for example, a lot of people that I see,
I was one of them.
But the common problem I see is you'll see a lot of people, they'll follow a lot of big names or big people, and then they'll say, well, but what can I even eat then? And what can I do then? And some things may be okay in moderation. Some things maybe you need to cut. Some things maybe need to change as you get older. But a lot of people end up being exactly what they despise, what they're speaking out against in a different way. And they don't even intend to. They don't even do it on purpose. They actually have good intention where some others don't. But they still become the same thing on accident. So I try to explain things in a way that everybody gets it and they don't feel hopeless. Because a lot of people, even though you're teaching something good, it makes them feel hopeless.
Yeah,
I see it all the time. Yeah. I read comments. I go research so that I don't make the same mistakes.
Right.
I spend my time, my free time, not doing some of the things I'd like to, not playing video games, not sitting around and watching TV. I spend my free time studying and analyzing. That's when I'm not working on stuff. Mm-hmm. So, my poor wife.
You're curious.
I am. I want to know everything because I want to give people the right message, and I want to know. I just want to know. And I think the more that you understand that you can never know too much, but you always know too little, it's like, do you think Michael Jordan stopped practicing every day to be the best, or do you think he shot more every day? He kept going and going and getting better and making his craft and art, and they never stop. They put more effort into it. The better they get, the more hard they go. That's what makes somebody in the athletic world. You've got all of these people with all this talent, but what makes a superstar?
Yeah. Refinement, intentionality. Mm-hmm. I think that wisdom compiled. Yeah, where you're building on a wisdom of experience and mistakes. Mm-hmm. And now you hopefully make fewer mistakes, and hopefully you catch yourself before you go too far off the deep end. Yeah, that refinement that comes with experience and having, touched the stove too many times. Oh yeah, I don't need to do that again. I don't need to do, oh no, wait, that's hot. And that's where I think that trial and error, that curiosity starts to pay off, because then it's easier to spot those patterns, and you're like, oh wait, no. And you can pivot. You pivot a little quicker.
That's right. I despise the term complacency and mediocrity. I don't believe in those terms. They don't exist in my world. And I feel like if more people live that way. So when I hit a goal, I'm hungry for more. I don't, that I even used to do that in my sales jobs. It's like, when you hit your quota and people are like, I'm done. I can chill the rest of the month. I'm like, shit, we just got going. Now we're going to make our money. Let's roll, and let's make this company money so that they treat us better. But I'm a competitive guy. You know what I mean? So I always want, but now for me being the best, it's not about me being the best. It's like, if I am the best, then I'm doing my job. Because to me, the definition of the best in what I do is being the most well-rounded, versatile, that gives everybody something that they need in their life. It's not just one thing, it's everything. That's why I study so many aspects of health. I study cardiology. I study the cellular side. I study the neurological side. I do the fitness side. I do the nutrition side. And I can go back and forth with anybody on it because I've become well-rounded and studied what I do. I like to bring specialists on and then keep the information going because then I learn too.
Yeah. So you're really going to be a purveyor of wisdom, basically.
Everything.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So that's when I asked you, do you see people skipping that nutrition side?
Well, they do.
And skip, but you're trying to bring those together is what it sounds like.
You can't hack your way out of all of this stuff. You can take different methods and alternative methodologies and medicines and certainly go different routes. Absolutely. But that is not that. See, that's where this phrase and this terminology comes in that I believe is just, I don't know. I like the term. I think biohacking is a cool term, but I think that there's a distortion of what that means. And people say, I'm going to hack my way out of this like it's some sort of ingenious shortcut or something when it's not. It's an alternative health method. It's really like a naturopathic way or an alternative way as opposed to conventional medicine. Mm-hmm. And I think that terminology is polarizing and confusing.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. It is polarizing and confusing. We've touched on the future of medicine and longevity and health with these, and it's great. It's come into more of the public sphere. It's not just locked up in research. It's not just locked up in academics. It's not all tied up in a doctor's office because they, in many ways, rejected it. Mm-hmm. And so now with the internet, we've got it. We can and be able to share and converse. It's like, what are you doing? What do you do? Like you had with your forums with bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And you were sharing information, not always for the best, but we can do that now, and it expands the market, and expands the knowledge and the demand, mm-hmm. right? And so then it grows. Well, if they're not going to offer it to us, we'll find a way to get it ourselves. And that's why we have the research peptide companies. That's why we have these supplement companies like the people you work with, or you have podcasts like yours where experts come on and share what they're doing. And you've created a forum on YouTube. You've created a forum on the podcast. You've brought that forum into a bigger audience. I think that moves in the direction that you're looking for, and so that's great. You've recreated your world mm-hmm. in a healthier sense, like you're doing with your own personal plan, your own personal lifestyle choices. You've created a business that is more reflective of where you want to go, and I think that's amazing.
Thank you.
That's and you're doing really well with it. Obviously, as seen by the charts, as seen by the guests that you have on. I think that curiosity is a great attribute of a host.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to be inquisitive, and you're going to be always finding something else to draw out of that person. And so that's how you're leaving impact, is you're leaving a wealth of information. So
thank you.
I mean, that's brilliant. You've recreated your world into a healthier space.
Thank you. I think that I do things quite different than most, like the purpose of how I do it and go about it, which is fine because everybody should do it how they want to do it. I just feel like I figured out what I was called to do and put here to do. And when you figure that out and you're in that kind of place, mm-hmm. and like I said, I live a life through what I ask of God to help me and lead me to do. And I just listen, man.
You're on your journey.
Yeah.
And then you're allowing other people to be on their journey. And mm-hmm. so that's where each person, it's why we shouldn't be arguing. We shouldn't be because we're all on the journey mm-hmm. and we're at different places on it. And just like we had to go through things to get to where we are, people are still going through those things. And at the moment, there were times when we were closed-minded and we were saying things that didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so allowing people that room to be on their journey, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're saying, the conversations help us all stay on that journey, so we won't get stuck.
Yeah,
we won't get stuck in the middle somewhere. So you're facilitating journeys.
Yeah, I don't do the arguing anymore, man. I don't get into any of that anymore. You've seen how I respond and I react, and I try to keep as level head. And then sometimes when you say something and somebody will actually take the time to read the words, this is what I do. So
people do that.
Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes when you feel like something's really complicated or you can't figure something out, if you go stand and just say this shit out loud and just say it and hear how it sounds and think about it rationally, or look in the mirror and say, what did you do wrong? Why is this happening? Instead of woe is me, or reasons, excuses. There's a fine line there, but they generally co-interact. It happens in life in every aspect, but I think far more there's excuses than reasons given. And we lean on those as crutches, when in fact, the best thing that I've ever figured out how to do is when I sit and go, man, you did this. Like, stop it. You did this. Just stop it. I fix it really fast, and I don't look down on myself about it anymore. I know, and I go do it, and I fix it, because it's called accountability. It's one of those things that most people just have lost, and sometimes by no fault of their own, because that's what's taught and pushed on us anymore, is to have this crutch to lean on for our own inadequacies or our own, areas where we need to improve. Constructive criticism and being told that something you could do could be done better is somebody showing they care, that they took the time to acknowledge that you actually have something potentially. Here's how you can make it better and fix it. Otherwise, you have what's called an enabler that will tell you when you ask them, do I look good? And you got shit on your face or your makeup's ran or whatever. Oh, you look great. They don't care. I'll tell you. Don't ask me if you look fat, if you really do, if you want the answer, right? Or if the thing makes your ass look big or whatever, right? But I used to have the friends, they'd always go, I'm always only going to ask you because you'll at least be honest with me and tell me, Otherwise, you don't care. You just don't care. I always tell people, you can say whatever the hell you want to me, and it will not hurt my feelings one lick, but I'll know that you care. And if you're insulting me, if I wake up in the morning and I think about that tomorrow, I got my own problems to worry about, man. I don't care. I really don't. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're actually contributing something that could help me get better. That's what I care about. I don't get the reason for the infighting or the I'm always right type of thing. Nobody wins, but we all lose.
Right. Closed mind, basically. Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Dylan, how can people find, obviously the Dylan Gemelli podcast. So on all the podcast channels?
Yeah. Apple, Spotify. My website's just being done. It's about finished. It's already up. It's dylangemelli.com.
Okay.
And I'm going to have newsletters and stuff that help people to learn, and some of the places that I work with that I feel are very strong in terms of their motives and what the products they have. They'll send out stuff on like mitochondria, cellular health, neurological health, and I'll throw things in there. My YouTube stuff's on there, and my Instagram is where you're going to get me. If you follow me on TikTok or anything, I post stuff there. I will not respond. I don't use it. I hate it. Okay, so
gotcha.
just for anybody.
Understood.
Facebook, I post on there. That's like, I will respond a little there. The best chance of getting me to respond is on Instagram. I do my best. I
understand.
But I always try. And there's applications to be on my show on my website now and everything, because I get flooded with emails. It's better to just apply on there and send it, and then we'll review it all and do our best. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
That's it,
Thank
man.
you, Dylan. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. Thanks for having me, and plenty more of us to come. I believe.
I think we're gonna have to do this several more times.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.